Stampers, Kim from stampingandperfection.com. Welcome to my craft room. I purchased these Stampin' Up! Has two designer series paper stacks. They're 4.5 by 6.5 sheets of designer series paper. You get 48 different pieces of paper. They're double-sided, so you get lots of different patterns to choose from. This one happens to be the All A Bloom designer series paper, and I really love some of the tiny subtle little patterns. Then there are these giant floral patterns, and I definitely feel like that's an acquired taste for a card. So I decided, well, I'm going to really try to make this work on one of these. So I have this piece here, and it's got Mossy Meadow in it, so I decided to use a Mossy Meadow card base. This is cut 4.25 by 11. I scored it at 5.5. And you can get on my website at stampingandperfection.com, you can get a card recipe that includes a picture of the card and all the measurements that I'm using today, so you don't have to scramble to write them down. I cut this piece of All A Bloom paper down to, I cut just an 1/8 of an inch off. And I'm making this 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I just wanted a peek of that green around the edge. I'm going to glue this piece down. Now this paper sort of coordinates with one of the single stamps that Stampin' Up! Came out with. And I want to get this in the center. So I'm just going to glue this down. Then I'll put this aside for just a minute. Okay, so I'll put that aside. I'm using this single stamp. It's called Hey There Buds, and it only comes as a wood stamp. So when you get it, you put the image on the sticker image on one side, you put the rubber stamp on the other side. That's permanently mounted on there. Then I decided that I would take 2 pieces of cardstock. I'm going to use another piece of Mossy Meadow, and this is cut 3.5 by 4. And then I'm going to use a piece of Very Vanilla. This is cut 1/8 inch smaller at 3 3/8 by 3 7/8. So I'm going to use that piece for now. I'm going to color in, I really wanted to color this in with 2 different markers. So I decided, or 2 different colors, so I decided to use my Stampin' Right markers. I'm using Strawberry Slush because that's one of the colors in the paper, and I'm using Mossy Meadow. So I'm going to start with the Strawberry Slush, and there is a fine tip side and a brush side. I always use the brush tip side to color in my images on my stamps. So I usually start with a lighter color, and I'm going to color this whole thing in. I don't know whether those 2 bottom ones are supposed to be leaves or what. I'm going to color them in. Then I'll color the buds in. And I'll just keep doing this till I have all of what appears to be the flower bits colored. I'm going to take the Mossy Meadow. Again, I'm using the brush side. I'm going to color in the words. It says, Hey There. Then I'm going to color in all the stems and leaves. I'm trying to work kind of fast. This is actually a big stamp, and I know I have the fan on, my overhead fan on. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but it's not helping me to keep this moist. So I'm just going to take my Strawberry Slush, and I'm going to color in some parts just to give it a little extra ink in a couple parts. And then I'm going to huff on it a couple times to re-moisten it, and then I'm going to attempt to get this toward the top of this a little bit. Oops, I don't know if I got it straight or not. Close enough, there we go. Alright, so that's my stamped image. Now I'm going to put this down on the Mossy Meadow that I cut. And I want to add, Stampin' Up! Came out with a bunch of new ribbons this year. Ribbons are always like the thing I consider to be the splurge, because I consider ribbon to be pricey. Although with Stampin' Up! I know the price looks high, but you get 10 yards of ribbon. And that roll of ribbon will actually last me a year or two in a lot of cases, depending on how much I use it, and I use my ribbons a lot. I just love what they add to the card. So they came out with this Blushing Bride, and this is actually, I believe it's cotton ribbon. This is cotton ribbon. It's pretty luscious actually. So I'm going to put a piece of this along the bottom of my image, and I'm just going to tie a little knot. Okay, now I'll trim this up. Just trim the edges. Okay, and I like Stampin' Dimensionals on the back. I love these. These are little hexagon-shaped foam squares. They have sticky on both sides, and I love that they just give your card some interest and dimension. That's why they're called dimensionals. It'll pop this up just enough. I'm not going to put too many more embellishments on this because this is such busy paper. I want to keep it simple. Sometimes less is more. We've all heard that expression enough times. I'm thinking this might be one of those times. Whenever I do a single image, I really like to put it up toward the top, and there we go, just like that. You could add rhinestones if you wanted to, or you could just keep it super simple like that. Even a bow felt like it was too much there. That's why I stayed with the knot. So there you go. That's the Hey There Buds stamp set and the All Abloom Designer Series paper. And again, you can go to stampingimperfection.com and get a card recipe with the measurements that I've used, the colors, the materials, and a picture of this card. So thanks very much for watching.